So in the last video, I was telling you guys about how the head on the M52 ended up being cracked and how I was having just a terrible time trying to source a new one. Surprisingly enough though, I ended up being able to find an entire M52. As you can see, the engine ended up coming with the accessories and the wiring harness. And surprisingly enough, I was able to pick it up for only $700, which ended up being only $100 more than I got my original M52 for. And what makes that deal even better is the fact that the engine only has 109,000 miles versus the other engine, which I want to say had, I think it was 174,000 miles, might have been 147,000 miles. I don't know. I think I've gotten the numbers mixed up in the past. I just don't even know at this point. But regardless, this engine seems to be in really good shape. But here's the plan for this video. I want to strip off all the accessories, all the wiring harness off of this, and I want to transfer over all the parts that I have on the old engine because they're already clean, already nice, know they work, and I'm going to swap them over to this. And then along with that, of course, we're going to be replacing all of the necessary gaskets. We have everything from oil pan to valve cover to the exhaust manifold gaskets. So I guess without further ado, let's get to work. You want to see me strip that engine? You want to see me do it again? So one thing that I actually forgot to mention that I want to really get done in this video is I actually want to try to get the engine in the BMW and running by midnight New Year's Day, which means we're on a bit of a tight timeline because today is December 30th. So I've got all day today, all day tomorrow until midnight because I want to get this thing running and driving because it's always been one of my dreams to be able to do like a burnout once it hits New Year's. We obviously still have a lot of work to get done before that can become a reality. I definitely need to give the engine a good degreasing, but before we get to that, I want to get in the thermostat housing, water pump, and I also want to get on at least the oil filter housing just so we can plug up all these holes so I don't have too much like masking to do before I go and power wash it and spray it down with degreaser. So let's get that done real quick. I actually went ahead and picked up this big ass jug of this heavy duty degreaser from Harbor Freight. Apparently it makes 200 gallons of like general purpose cleaner. I only spent like 10 bucks on this and it should last a really long time. So I'm hoping it's gonna work pretty well. So you can make 200 gallons of the general purpose cleaner because you do 1 part of the degreaser to 200 parts water. But to make like a general degreaser, it's 1 part degreaser to 26 parts water. I already made an entire spray bottle of it and it barely went through any, so I can tell that this is going to last a very long time. I really hope this stuff works because not only is the value there, but I mean it's also biodegradable, so I mean like that's cool. Oh, gotcha. I gotta say, this electric power washer, this thing does work. It didn't come out perfect, but compared to before, this looks a hell of a lot better. Now, after painting the last engine and doing all that BS, I'm definitely not going to be painting this engine. I mean, it looked good, but like, I don't know. It wasn't really worth the time. And like on the headers, for example, I just couldn't be bothered to actually cure the paint on here because I'm lazy as hell. And it just ended up looking bad. And if I'm being honest, the stock headers, they don't even look that bad. I kind of like the patina on them. So now we're going to get this thing back in the garage. And now we got the valve cover and we have the oil pan to do. Ooh. These coil packs seem stupid fresh. That's exciting. The coil packs that were on the other engine were pretty scuffed, so I'm happy about that. Oh, come on. There we go. Holy. Oh, this looks like a million times better than the last engine. That looks good. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, this old gasket is something. All right, so here's a piece of the valve cover gasket. Just to give you an idea of how dry this is. That's supposed to be rubber. Like, what the heck? Well, that was a lot more time consuming and annoying than initially anticipated. It very quickly went from, haha, rubber turned to plastic, to, oh no, now I've got plastic pieces all in my head and valve cover, and I need to get them out. That wasn't fun at all. I did learn a very good trick along the way though. So all these little rings that go around the spark plug holes, all those were completely stuck in here and they were literal plastic. But turns out if you just apply some heat, they turn malleable again and you're able to pop them out. The only problem was we didn't have a heat gun in here, but we do have this heater chilling on the wall over there. So I was just hanging out over there with the valve cover, holding it over there, and they softened right up and I was able to pop them right out. But I guess with that out of the way, we can continue our work. Oh no! Fuck! Oh, I forgot a part. Oh! Oh my goodness. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Oh! Fuck! I pinched the shit out of my thumb. Oh, it's so cold. Alrighty, it's the next day. Getting a little bit of a later start than I would have liked today. I think it's around like 10:45. I just stayed up way too late last night. Regardless though, got about 13 hours to get this car done. Unfortunately, one thing that I really wanted to get done last night just so I could let the RTV set is the oil pan. But I just ran out of time. I had to get going earlier than I would have liked last night, but that's okay. We're just gonna send it. We don't have realistically too much to get done. I just need to get the oil pan gasket replaced and then we can work on getting this thing in the car and hopefully running with a healthy amount of time before the clock strikes midnight. Alrighty, so it's about 6:20 now and the engine is off the stand, have the transmission on, and this thing is ready to get in the car. I gotta say, getting the transmission on went a hell of a lot better this time. If any of you guys saw the last time I put this engine in my car, we spent like an hour trying to get the transmission on. The key is to have it in gear. That's the key. Should have known that, but you know, it's whatever. All right, bet, she's in. I'm gonna spend some time up underneath the car getting all that stuff done while Gabe over here does some of the easy wiring stuff, just so we can try and get this thing done in relatively quick fashion. Do you know what time it is? Okay, it's 7:30, so we got 4.5 hours. I think we're pretty ahead of schedule. I don't think we're gonna have any trouble getting this done by midnight. Let's just try and knock all this stuff out, because it's gonna be a bunch of just like tedious little things here and there that we have to do now. Let's just get it done. We were getting very close to the end. We were literally getting the fuel injectors in the intake, and then it was kind of not wanting to seat, and one of the tips of the fuel injector actually fell inside and is sitting on top of the cylinder 2 valves right now. So I gotta take the entire intake back off and get access to this stuff. It's about what, like 10:50 right now? I'm just trying to at least get the car started. I just want to hear it run. At this point, burnout, meh, couldn't give a care. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm tired and hungry, and I just want to get this started. Okay, so we got 3M tape on the end of this 1/4-inch extension. Sticky tip. Young sticky tip. Sticky tip got contact. Come on. I got it. The sticky tip was a success. It happened again. It happened again. It's not gonna happen tonight. This car's not even gonna start tonight. This video was so tame and upbeat and happy up until this point. And now, New Year's Eve was spent working on this car just for it to not start. It's like 11:20 at this point. 11:30. I don't want to go through and do all that again. So I don't know if this is where the video is gonna end. It might pick back up another day. Probably pick back up another day. Maybe, I don't know. If it doesn't, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. Overall, regardless, a lot of progress was made. The car is almost ready to go and almost ready to start drifting again, which I'm excited about, regardless of if it happens on New Year's for a very cool burnout. What a time to be alive. Gotta love it. So last night was definitely a bit of a disaster, but I woke up this morning and I decided there's absolutely no way I'm gonna let this video end off on that note. So we're gonna get this engine at least started. So I'm gonna fish out that injector cap that fell in. I'm gonna fill this thing with oil. and then we're gonna start this thing. Everything is now back together, no problems this time. The only thing that's kind of weird, when I went to go plug the battery back in, the hazards are on. And of course I don't have the horns plugged in, so we're assuming that that's just the alarm going off, but of course we can't hear it. I don't know why I'd be doing that, but regardless, I'm just gonna try and give it a start and see what happens. All right, ready?
Yep.
Yeah. So the car didn't start the first time. We were very confused why. I felt like I heard a pop inside the cabin. So we were looking through main fuse, electrical connections and stuff, and everything was in check. But the one thing that we didn't think about until the end was the fact that I painted these plates where my ground sits. Now I know this isn't like a great ground to begin with, but the fact that I had painted it made it so this ground wasn't working anymore. So I just had to go in there, I grinded off some paint on the underside, and then also sanded off some paint right there. And now we've got power back to everything, because after the pop initially, we weren't getting power anywhere. Let's hope this fixes it. Well, it starts, so that's a good thing. So I was noticing that the check engine light was kind of flashing on and off. Probably have to hook up the code reader to see what that is, but I mean, the car sounded good. But I guess with that, we know it starts. Sounds good. So I guess now, gotta get this front end back together, put some coolant in it, bleed the system, and hope that nothing is going wrong. Alrighty, so we got the radiator in, and we got most of the bleeding done. I say most. When I go to take this car out for the first time, I'm probably going to bleed it one more time just to be safe. One thing that is concerning me, though, there was a decent amount of white smoke coming out the back. Now, I know that sounds like it could be like a replay of last time with the last engine, but I think I might know what's causing it. I'm going to have to do some more testing to be absolutely sure. I don't want to think that this already has a blown head gasket, but if I'm being honest, when it comes to picking up these engines secondhand, I guess there's always that risk. Like I said though, I'm gonna run some more testing. Pray that that's not the case. I'm fairly certain it's not, but we'll figure that out soon enough. As of right now though, dude, I've got an engine back in the car that actually runs, and I'll actually be able to drive this car soon. Not gonna do it tonight like I initially thought, just because there's some stuff that I wanna work out, and it's late. I don't really feel like taking it out right now. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do some more testing, and then we'll figure out what's actually causing that smoking. I'm honestly super excited to get back to driving this thing. I'm excited to finally get back to the track, hopefully soon. I've honestly really been missing drifting. I follow so many people on Instagram that drive the same track that I do, and I honestly get very envious all the time seeing all these guys just shredding out there. And I can't wait to go see my track buddies again, you know? I miss those guys. But I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.